you want a man for president who's seasoned through and through? But that's a doggone season that he won't try something new. A man who's old enough to know
and young enough to do.
Well, it's up to you, it's up to you. It's strictly up to you. But it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy,
Kennedy, Kennedy, Kennedy.
Do you want a man with spirit who is not afraid to fight?
A man whose record shows that he will fight for what is right.
A loyal man who'll bring the job a fresh new point of view. Well, it's up to you, it's up to you. It's strictly up to you. Because it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy,
Kennedy, Kennedy, Kennedy.
And do you deny to any man the right he's guaranteed to be elected president, no matter what his creed?
It's promised in the Bill of Rights to which we must be true.
So it's up to you, it's up to you. It's strictly up to you. And it's Kennedy, 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 for me.
Kennedy, 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 Kennedy.
Do you like a man who answered straight, a man who's always fair? We'll measure him against the others, and when you compare, you cast your vote for Kennedy, and the change that's overdue. So it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you. Kennedy, 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 for me. Kennedy, 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 Kennedy,
Welcome from my humble second bedroom here in East Ogden Valley, part of the Lehigh Valley Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, part of these United States, Western Hemisphere, North American continent, on this planet Earth. Only one we have. Third rock from the sun in the Terran solar system, part of the Milky Way galaxy. This is the Kennedy Effect live with you for Sunday, the 10th of November, 2024. Welcome to all. And let me say, tomorrow is Veterans Day, November the 11th. A very special hello, welcome, and thank you to the veterans that have served this nation. Having just re-elected someone who thinks you are all suckers and losers, and some of you still voted for him, I can only say, we don't look at you that way. Not even a little. My brother served in the New Jersey National Guard for 25 years. My father served 37 years. I can tell you, they were not suckers. I lost my dad 8 years ago in December. So just under 8 years ago. I have not been the same since. Nor do I expect I ever will be. I never, ever. There's not a minute I don't think about him. There's not a day I don't tell some kind of story about him. There's not a day that I don't remember some kind of lesson that he taught me. I'm actually quite surprised I've not broken into tears just in this little soliloquy about him. I still use the old joke whenever anybody calls me sir, even if they're just trying to, provide nice service, or they don't know my name, so they just say sir. No, my dad was sir. I'm just me. But my dad was no sucker. He sure as hell wasn't a loser. He's everything that this nation was built on. Everything that it used to hold dear. Everything that it used to be proud of. The values and character, traits, and dedication, loyalty, and patriotism that this country used to treasure. And that now we can say that the majority no longer does. but we'll get in. So a quick, we'll get into that obviously as the program goes along. And I also happen to think, I would also happen to say that if you caught our program last Thursday, our nightly program last Thursday, then some of what I'm going to say you're going to know already, and it's going to sound very repetitive to you, except that we know a bit more numbers than we did then. And it might be a bit boring to you. It might be a bit repetitive to you, but I think for a Sunday program, if you're new to the program, if you only catch us on Sundays and you don't listen during the week, perhaps it'll still be new to you, but I think it's still worth exploring and getting into. And I hope that you'll stick around with us for that. Let's get through the business end of the program, if you would please allow. And that is the following. Yes, I'm still sharing the program. Come on, everything's about everything. Is about promotion. Oh, no George tonight. And in fact, let me put that out there. In addition to the announcements that I wanted to make about Veterans Day, a happy, hearty, happy birthday to Lynn, George's wife. George is taking the night off from being with us to spend the night with Lynn, exactly as he should. And it's not just a wife joke about, happy wife, happy life. It's exactly what George should be doing. He should be with Lynn. It's her birthday. So a very hearty hello, a very hearty happy birthday from all of us around the program, and of course from my family to theirs. Let me just get to the business end of the program. You are watching, this is the Kennedy Effect live with you for the 10th of November, Sunday, November the 10th, 2024, 6:10, just shy of 6:10 Eastern Standard Time here in the Lehigh Valley. It is dark, it is chilly, it has rained ever so slightly today. We have not had a measurable, meaningful rain here in the Lehigh Valley in almost a month. We are in severe drought conditions here. There's a burn ban. No one can burn leaves or garbage or have a fire pit at the moment because they might spark an even larger fire. We might have a few drops during the week, but we're not expecting any sizable rain again for the foreseeable future. It's pretty frightening. The creeks are low. Some of them have actually stopped moving because the water hits like a dip and the next kind of rise is a little too high and then they're not moving. But it's also starting to feel a little wintry around here. The trees were so dried out from no rain that we kind of lost that brilliant fall coloring. We never got that. We got dried out brown leaves that fell. I mean, it's been a bit breezy today. They fell and they're falling quite a bit. Nature kind of always provides like one of those like really breezy days or a couple of days, and it kind of clears off the rest of the leaves. Well, I think we're getting that early. I was walking the dog today with my father-in-law, who was walking their dog. He came for a visit today. In fact, they're still downstairs and hopefully listening. And it just kind of was walking up the street, looking up my street, thinking, in fact, I audibly said out loud to him, gosh, it looks like winter. The clouds in the sky were not like individual rain clouds kind of smushed together. You know what snow clouds look like? There's almost no definition. It's just like this blanket of cloud. And clearly it wasn't anywhere near cold enough to snow, nor would I, silly enough to think that it would have. But it just looked very wintry. The trees were bare except for the evergreens and a few leftover leaves here and there. The clouds just looked very snow-ish. And it's just moving along. I mean, time moves. Which is, geez, I really broke some news there. Time flows. But sometimes you see something on the streets, or you hear a song and you realize how old it is, or you see an old friend. On Facebook, you see it's so-and-so's birthday and they're X number of years old, and somebody that you graduated with. And you think to yourself, gosh, time just moves and moves and moves. I'm 55. I got my first full-time job 40 years ago. 40. They've been working full-time, nonstop. There's been some unemployment breaks in their bad economies. Companies close, things like that. They eliminate positions. But I mean, for all intent and purpose, I have worked, even through the pandemic, by the way. I worked straight through the pandemic. I took the 6 months that most everybody was forced to take, but the instant that I could get back to work, I went back to work. But that's a topic for a different day. We'll try to save some of these non-political topics, I think, for whatever shows we might do following. Well, maybe even starting this week, following certainly into the holidays. But and I'll get to the new schedule, by the way, as well. But I worked, and I've worked full time now for 40 years. This partly, I think, why my body is so broken and shutting down here slowly and steadily. But gosh, just when it looked like winter today, it was 80 degrees here on, I think last Thursday, we pushed 80. It was still in the 70s on Friday. Even yesterday, while it was cooler, it was still in the low 60s, and I think at night got into the 40s. And just today seems to be a little bit of a sea change, although it's supposed to get close to 70 again tomorrow, so I don't know. I want to say a special hello to Clay, who's listening to us from Oregon. Not sure I've noticed Clay's name in the program before, but he mentions in the chat, sending love from the West Coast in Oregon. Thank you, Oregon, for voting blue. Always had confidence in you. I can't explain necessarily why we have such good listenership out of Oregon, but we do. Obviously, I'm grateful for it. I'm not questioning it. It doesn't upset me. I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to have anybody listen from anywhere, to be honest. But always been a very high concentration of listenership for this show in Oregon, and I think it's fantastic. I'm thrilled by it. Please know that. That's by no means is that any kind of complaint. I just find it kind of interesting. I've always found it interesting where people are when they are listening, and I don't just mean like physically at that moment, but where they live and where they're listening from. I find it fascinating. It's not a deep question like a questioning question or something like that. Clay mentions he's new to the program. Let me put this comment up. This is a good comment to put up. So this is Clay. Hopefully you're seeing that on the screen. New to the program! Exclamation point. We love the exclamation point. Proud that our district just flipped a House seat blue. Good for you, sir, because you narrowed the Republican majority. And although I do not believe the House of Representatives has still not been officially declared with Republican control, I think we can say that rather safely. Republicans will have control of the House. Probably, last I looked, it's going to be somewhere in the 10-seat range. So it's not going to be a massive majority, but enough. Looking to get even more involved now. Oh, involved in politics. Clay, I hope so. And I hope that my opening to the program doesn't put you off, because it's not going to be optimistic. Maybe it will motivate you more, because you might take my words and think to yourself, that's exactly why I need to do more. And if you feel that way, then God bless you, mate, because I've been in this game since I was 5 years old. And I can tell you that this election cycle, and especially now after Tuesday, I have never been more disillusioned. I have never been more disappointed. And I have never been more ready to just walk away. I know that's exactly what the right wing wants. I've never made any mistake. You know, Donald Trump doesn't know who I am. He wouldn't know me if he tripped over me, and he sure as hell wouldn't care. If he hit me with the presidential limo, he'd probably just order them to run over me. I don't think he or his inner circle or his even broader network of sycophants is paying any attention to me by any means. But I do know that that's what they want. They want people like us to say, you know what? After all this, I'm done. I'm out. Except that this time, I think I might be. But I'll get into that. I keep saying I'm going to do the business end of the program, and then my brain goes off in some other direction. As far as how long we're going to be with you tonight, as long as I can keep air in my lungs. I'm having a lot of trouble breathing today. I'm not quite as dizzy. I've been trying to eat better. And I don't just mean healthier, but eat smaller bits many more times in the day. I seem to be keeping my sugar more under control. I'm still pretty certain that that's what it is. My heart keeps coming back. It's extremely strong. My lungs are good. I have 2 more tests this week. Boy, what the tests. I still think it's my sugar. My mother, by the way, had dinner with my mother Friday night. And she said, it's your sugar. I said, well, Mom, the doctors didn't say, it's your sugar. We have a family history of it. It's your sugar. Whether it is too low or too high, it's your sugar. Tell them I told you it's your sugar, and tell them to do these tests. And that was funny. It's a mom. She's a mom. You know what I mean? It was funny. It's a serious topic, obviously, but it was funny. It really was. It was funny. It was funny. Anyway, business. You are listening to and watching The Kennedy Effect live with you for Sunday, November the 10th, 2024, 6:20 Eastern Standard Time here in the Lehigh Valley of Pennsylvania. You are now watching us live, or you can do so on the following places. Let me do a quick refresh of this to tell you where. I hope, anyway, if I can find it, because now I've lost it. We are live right now on the Facebook pages of Ghost Claw Productions, the TCP Media Group, Our Revolution Pennsylvania. By the way, I happen to think that Our Revolution national and state organizations are going to see a bit of a resurgence these next couple of years. I think they're going to be a very, very integral part of the electorate and of the resistance. We are live on my personal Facebook, Jeff Kennedy. My name's right up there in the upper, I guess it's upper left-hand corner for you as well. I don't always know if my screen looks like yours. We are live on our YouTube channel. We're live on our main Facebook group. Geez, you think I would have remembered that, huh? Goodness gracious. Whatever is wrong with me is definitely affecting my brain. And don't laugh. By the way, blood sugar problems do mess with the mind. They really do. They mess with your memory. That said, we are live on our home group Facebook page for all things that have to do with the Kennedy Effect, the stories that we follow, the stories we talk about, the stories that we think you need to know about, the policies, issues, and so on that we think are important and that we try to highlight on this program. That other side of information, that THAT, other side of information is the name of our Facebook group. It is also and we want you to come to the group and be a member of it. So Clay, come check out our Facebook group, become a member. We'd be thrilled to have you. Our YouTube channel is also called That other side of information. We have also shared it to the Ghost Claw Productions Radio YouTube as well. We are live on Twitch. Jeff R, put that R in the middle, R for Republican at this point, R for red. Oy, oy, day, I'll tell you. Jeff R. Kennedy is Twitch. And LinkedIn, Jeff Kennedy, LinkedIn. The audio of the program blasting around the globe via 2 global internet radio stations. One of the very first at the creation of the internet itself, and that is hot101.net. If you don't know how to listen to hot101.net, you haven't been listening to me over 5 years now, 5.5 years, over 5.5 years. We have been proud, humble members of the hot101.net family, and we hope to remain exactly that for a very, very long time to come. Our hot101.net family has been amazing to us, to our program. They've been understanding, allowed me to do special programs on special nights. They've also kept up with me when I've had health problems and can't be on the radio. No one's ever complained, and no one's ever done anything like that. Very proud to be a member of the hot101.net family. If you don't know how to listen, it's very, very simple. Our name, our very, very name, is our web address. It's the easiest place to find us. Hot, H-O-T, 101.net. That will open up to the main web page, and you can listen straight from there on desktops and laptops and tablets, phones, and you can Bluetooth from those devices into your earbuds or headsets, or in the car, or onto speakers, or however it is that you might Bluetooth. You can also tell Alexa to play hot101.net, but you don't need the website either. You can use our apps. If you have an Apple device, go to the Apple App Store, search hot101.net, download the app, you open it, and you're listening. There's no credit card, there's no sign-in, there's no login. You don't have to sign over your house, your firstborn, give a blood sample, anything like that. Got an Android device? No problem. We have a hot101.net app at the Google Play Store. It works the same way. You download it, open it, and you're listening. It's that simple. If you don't have an Apple or Android device, you can use an app called TuneIn Radio, TuneIn, TuneIn Radio. It works on every type of device that I am aware of. And you can go up to the search bar and type in hot101.net. And you're listening. Very simple. You're listening. It's not hard. It's not hard, folks. I hope that you will do so. I lost my place. Sorry. Lost my place. Please do so. So while we have Hot 101 on one end, one of the real genuinely, I don't just say that as like some kind of tagline, one of the original global, very first. I don't think they were the very first, but damn near one of the very first global internet radio stations is hot101.net. Well, one of the newest is GCPR, Ghost Claw Productions Radio, GCPR.live. Type that into any kind of search engine. Type in Ghost Claw Productions, GCPR, you will find us. GCPR.live, the radio station I am proud to be a partner in. We are live there and blasting around the globe. You can just put it in to your search engine and you will find us. I'm sorry, I need a tissue. This is going to make for lovely TV. And you will find us and you can listen to us, and we invite you to do that, and we hope that you will do that. Our website, gcpr.live, is where you can find our broadcast schedule, find out about the different shows that we offer, the different some bios on the different hosts, show explanations. What do we do on these shows? What are these shows about? Very much hope that she will do exactly that. Some news. about GCPR. Following us tonight, I'm nearly certain, at 11 p.m. Eastern. Conversations with, no, sorry. Oh my God, my head is gone. Head's gone. Following us on GCPR, The Villain's View from 9 p.m. Their pre-show starts a little early. If we end early, go straight on over to them. Like I said, I'll go as long as I can. I'm already running out of breath. Ooh. Don't worry, Mike. That was planned. You didn't want to see me blow my nose. It's not fun. It's gross. I've got a runny nose. I don't know what to say. Allergies. If you... And then Conversations with Teen Nathan from 11. Thomas kicks off your broadcast week tomorrow morning. Your broadcast work week. I guess Sunday is still technically the first day of the week, right? He kicks off your broadcast work week from 8 a.m. tomorrow morning with the sound of coffee. Hot 101, you return to the music when I sign off. And believe me, even though I am on 2 radio stations, I love them both dearly. They mean everything to me. They really, really do. And there's a lot of hours in a day. There's a lot of hours. You might think it's a little bit strange to pump 2 radio stations, but as they're competing against each other. But look, I think there's a lot of hours in the day, a lot of hours in the week, and a lot of time for you to share both stations and enjoy both thoroughly. So that's it. No phones quite yet because we don't know how long I'm going to be able to carry this on. With the breathing, especially, because you can't catch it. 2 more tests this week. It'll be fun. Let's dig into what happened Tuesday. We try to take you a little bit through our day. Kristen worked all day long. She was on the phone trying to do voter protection. I mean, I shouldn't say trying. I mean, successfully doing voter protection. And obviously that was busy. She's getting reports from around the Commonwealth about voter problems throughout the Northeast. I still think that those folks, those kids, and they're certainly kids to me, because they're a hell of a lot younger. I could easily be a father to most of them. Some of them I might even arguably be a grandparent to. There is a building on the south side of the city of Bethlehem called the Banana Factory. It was the very first building that was revitalized after Bethlehem Steel shut down, and there was nothing, and I mean nothing, on the south side except out of work people. There was a thriving drug trade, because when people are desperate and they can't work, they turn to things like that. Crime was high, violent crime was high, the south side was filthy. There were homeless, there were abandoned homes as people fled the city looking for work. And there was nothing over there. There were times in daylight you didn't go there, let alone at night. Lehigh University was still there, but nothing else. The first thing that really began to rebuild things was a place called the Banana Factory. And the Banana Factory became a home for artists and artisans, gentlemen that Kristen and I are not super tight friends with, but acquaintances with. A glass blower, gentleman literally blows glass in some of the old techniques. Well, some of the old techniques, because he does use some modern tech as well, and teaches glass blowing at his parties where you can watch him and things like that. But also, it's also a voting location for the students of Lehigh University. And they lined up there by the hundreds. In the county of Northampton, where I reside, in its infinite wisdom, he said sarcastically, gave these thousands of students 3 voting machines. And then one of them failed. So they had two voting machines for thousands of students. Some of those students stood there 2 and 4 and 6 and 10 hours. some of them stood there that long and did not get to vote because Democratic lawyers went to a judge and said it's not fair that they can't vote. We'd like to keep the polling place open till 10. And the judge said no. Why, I can't tell you. It was very, very obvious. In my humble opinion, a violation of Pennsylvania law. These kids were in line. They should have been allowed to vote. Period. End of story. It didn't matter if it took them till 3 in the morning. If they were in line at 8 p.m., they should have been allowed to vote. So we worked on that. Well, Kristen worked on that largely. I went to vote after I signed up for work at about 6 p.m. Having known and knowing, because it was current at the time, what was happening with lines around Northampton County and Lehigh County, the eastern half of Pennsylvania. And I walked into my polling, I hopped in the Jeep to get over to my polling place and thought to myself, oh my God, I could be here forever. I was in and out in 5 minutes. There was also about 200 campaign signs outside my polling place that looked like a furniture store going out of business. And I thought to myself, it says a lot. Now, we only had 2 voting machines too, by the way, to cover roughly the population of Lehigh's campus. And I got in and out. And it did make me think to myself that I couldn't help but think that there's a double standard here. An overwhelmingly white township. When I say overwhelming, I'm talking 99%. Wealthy, generally speaking, township. We got the same amount of voting machines. We didn't have the lines. Now, there may have been lines there earlier in the day, but it made me think to myself, geez, young students, some of which are students of color, some from poorer areas and have earned their way to as prestigious a university as Lehigh. They had to wait. They didn't get the right number of voting machines. But we, as older, again, Lower Saukett Township is almost exclusively white. It is 98+%, if not 99+. We were in and out. We got it easy. Well, eventually we put ourselves together. We went to an election night party in Allentown. And almost from the time that we walked in the door, there was a movement. There was a sense of impending doom. And it only got worse. We sat with many friends. We saw many friends. Surprisingly, didn't eat too much. It wasn't a lot of food. Or at least we had missed it. I'm not sure. I was starving. I think Kristen was better off than me. But I was really hungry. But anyway. And we're watching the returns. And there were screens everywhere. And all on different channels, so you could watch all of these different things coming in the way that different, everything but Fox. And so, because we were watching news, so no Fox. As we know, Fox is an entertainment channel by their own admission. They are entertainment, they are not news. You know, you want to talk about losers and suckers and losers. The way Trump called veterans and people who served in the military suckers and losers. The real suckers and losers are the fools who continue to watch Fox and nothing else. After Fox themselves told you in court, under oath, under threat of perjury, they're not a news channel. They're an entertainment channel. And that the people that watch them are kind of foolish for taking everything that they say as truth. They said that in open court. Well, open deposition. But anyway, we can always do that on a different day too, because the media's role or lack of a media role in this election cycle is staggering, and something that will probably only history will be able to put in proper context. As we watched the returns, the first bit of really bad news came in. First off, as polls closed, many of the states were immediately declared. I remember West Virginia being declared for Trump. 0 votes had been counted. 0% of the vote had been counted. Nothing. There were literally zeros all across the board. And they declared it for him. Now, of course, he was going to take it. He was going to win West Virginia. Satan could run as a Republican and win West Virginia. The biggest billionaire. Musk could run for president, tell the people of West Virginia, I'm going to chain you all together and forcibly make you work in the coal mines. And they'll still vote Republican. It's just not a very terribly politically educated state, unfortunately. And I don't say that proudly. I don't say that with any glee or any joy. It is what it is. And by the way, Trump wants to put them back in the mines too, because he loves coal. So go back in the mines. Go kill yourselves in the mines. It's what you voted for. But the first real bad sign was North Carolina. They called North Carolina for Trump, I think by 9 p.m. Might have even been earlier. And it made me think to myself, well, there's one of your battlegrounds gone. He was leading comfortably in Michigan. And I'm thinking, all right, there's 2. He was leading in Wisconsin. There's 3. He took Georgia. There goes 4. And as all of us in this room, all Pennsylvanians, thinking to ourselves, this is all coming down to Pennsylvania. And none of us trusting that Pennsylvania would vote in its own self-interest or vote for the interest of the country. And they didn't. And as soon as she lost our county, as soon as Steve Kornacki put Northampton in the red, I knew this election was over. And I don't say that with any glee. That, oh, look at me. Boy, am I so smart. I just knew the truth of it. And it was all downhill from there. I told you on this program a lot that I thought Vice President Harris was going to win the popular vote by 10 or 12 million votes. Well, I could not have been more wrong. I was going to say I have no problem telling you I was wrong. Actually, I kind of do. I hate when I'm wrong. I hate it. But I was. I will always tell you. I don't think you have any credibility if you can't admit it when you're wrong. But I was wrong. She lost the popular vote rather handily. Trump is the first Republican presidential nominee to win the total American popular vote since 1988, since George Herbert Walker Bush. He's the first one. In nearly 40 years and 36 years to win the popular vote. And not just the Electoral College. And I knew it was done. I knew it was over. I had also told you leading up to the end of this cycle that there was literally no path for the Democrats to hold the Senate. Well, they didn't. They've lost control of the Senate. Again, it's not a massive majority, but when there's only 100, even if you're down by 5 votes, it's a lot. And they are. In fact, it might be worse than that. It might be 58. I don't remember where the Senate actually ended up at this point. The Senate race here in Pennsylvania was called by the major media outlets, but the margin of victory for McCormick over Bob Casey continues to shrink as more and more ballots are counted. And then we woke up Wednesday morning and realized that we were here again. That we were at a place where none of us wanted to be, and where we never wanted to, or at least I think enough of us really never wanted to be. But here we are. And here's the one takeaway. Now, again, for those of you who watched me this past Thursday, this is not going to be new to you. This is like a repeat for you. You can go walk away, get a drink, go have dinner, come back a little later. But for those of you, for people like Clay and for Gretchen, and welcome to Gretchen, who might be new to the program and haven't watched before or listened before, here's what I think is the number one top overarching, dare I say, indisputable takeaway from this election cycle. And it's not pleasant. It's not one you're going to want to hear. It's not I don't think it's comforting in any way. And that is the following. We've asked you on this program many times throughout this election cycle, and the support for Trump that's been consistent now. Well, it's actually grown. Sadly, it's grown. Joe Scarborough always likes to talk with Trump. Never got better. Never increased his support in these polls by more than usually 47%. And that his actions in the campaign trail really did nothing to increase that base. Only following the close of the polls nationwide do we realize he actually did increase his base. No one seemed to know that going into Election Day. And it's a whole topic for another day as well, about why the media continues to get these things so terribly wrong and continues to just flat out fail in their duty as the constitutional fourth estate, if you will. But I think now, I've asked you a lot of, I know where I was going now. Yeah, my brain's a little foggy. Not good, especially not for politics. It's not, if you have serious topics, if this was a comedy show, which it actually seems to be devolving into, given my brain function, then my complete lack of brain function would be funny and cute. It's not when you're trying to talk about serious topics. We asked a lot on this program in 2024, who are we as a country? I told you in January of 2024, when we returned from COVID and returned from the holidays, that I thought the theme of this program was going to be, for 2024, Who are we? I wanted on this program to ask you the questions that Bobby Kennedy asked all of us in 1968. Who are we as a nation? Who do we want to be? Are we truly a free and great nation when our fellow citizens, sizable amounts of our fellow citizens, are starving, are unsheltered, cannot send their children to school, cannot see a doctor, including veterans, when the so-called richest nation on earth has only 3 white men that have as much wealth as the bottom 2/3? 60%. Sorry. Well, yeah. Is that who we are? And is that what we want to be? And the added question that I would put on top of what Bobby Kennedy asked us is, aren't we better than this? Do we not deserve better? Then, as the campaign dragged on, and it did, I was kind of forced to change the main question to you for this cycle into, do you want this election to be your last? Or do you want it to continue? Is the 2024 election cycle our last election cycle, or simply one in a series? And all of those questions were answered by a majority of the American people on Tuesday. And the answers are inescapable. They are not up for debate anymore. We now have answers. Every election asks the electorate questions. This election cycle is no different. It asked questions of the American people. And the majority of you, a comfortable majority, not a 1984 Reagan landslide majority, but a pretty comfortable margin of you, said, yeah, here's who we are. So who are we? My number one question for 2024, or what ended up being my number one question for 2024. Do you want the 2024 cycle to be just the next in a series of elections or the last? 55% of the country said, we'll be perfectly fine if this is our last election. They said that. They said that through their votes. Not just for Trump, but flipping the Senate and keeping the House. And by the way, I do know that the House of Representatives has not been officially 100% officially declared in a Republican majority, but the path for Democrats to take that majority is thin as a human hair. And so for all intent and purpose, we now have one party government. We already know that the billionaires that own the Republican Party, or the former political party known as Republicans, the same billionaires that bought the Supreme Court, they now own everything. So when we here at this program ask the American people, or at least the slice of you who takes us in every now and then, Do you want this to be the last election? And the majority of the country said, yeah, we're good with that. If this is the last time that we are ever allowed to vote, we're okay with that. So that's who we are. When we go to the questions that Bobby Kennedy was asking us in 1968, how does the so-called richest nation on earth allow so many of its citizens to starve, to be unsheltered, to be the victims of class warfare, race warfare? The answer is now because we want that. Because that's what we want. Because that is who we are. And I think it's inescapable. I do not have a political science degree behind me. I don't have an anthropology degree behind me. And yes, by the way, some of the studies of how mass quantities of people act is actually anthropological. It's not just political science. There's anthropology behind it. You know, it's not an accident that the only place where abortion rights was on the ballot and lost is Florida. You know, these are frightening times. So I'm not here to tell you that I'm 100% correct. I'm not 100% correct about anything. Never. I'm just a guy like you. I work for a living. I'm part of the working poor. At best, Kristen and I are lower middle class. At best. But I don't think that you can take really anything else away from this 2024 election without first having to concede that this is who we are. Trump is not just a man of division and hate, a felon, a rapist, godless, without plan, without policy, without guidance, without caring, without morals. His party is now that as well. And now so is the nation. In a nation of 330 million people, because I saw Clay mention that not everybody is what I'm describing. Of course not. Of course not. You get 10 people in a room, you'd be hard-pressed to get 10 people to agree on anything in this country. So obviously this is not universal. But it is the majority. And they're in control. And they will be for the foreseeable future. So it is who we are. No, not all of us. Like I said, you can't get 10 people to agree on almost anything, let alone 330 million. But it is the majority. Whether they made a conscious choice for this, whether they were tricked into it by Russian, Iranian, North Korean, and Saudi or Chinese misinformation, whether their opinions were bought by the billionaires or Fox News, or they were completely unplugged and walked into that booth and did a blind pin the tail on the donkey. Oh, Trump. whatever the explanation, 55% of the country voted for this. I'm sure some of those people voted against Harris as well. But it would seem to me, and seem from the numbers, that way more of people voted for this. And I think we have to concede that, not just as Democrats, but Americans, that well over half of our brethren, our fellow Americans, made a decision that the America that we knew before on Tuesday morning is not the America they want anymore. Many years ago, I think it's well over 10 years ago now, Jimmy Carter, former President Carter, was a guest on Thom Hartmann's program. And you can look this up on YouTube, by the way. It's actually pretty regularly searched for interview and quote. And I'll butcher the quote because I always butcher quotes. But in the course of the interview, Thom asked the former president about the Citizens United decision and asked him if the Citizens United decision had damaged American democracy. And the former president's answer was stunning in both its bluntness and the realism that I think it caused, and the bluntness especially coming from a former president. You know, former officials are always loath to say that so-and-so lied to you. No, he didn't exactly say the truth. He had a little misinformation there. You know what I mean? Very rarely are they this direct. The former president answered and said, "Oh, Thom, I don't think we live in a democracy anymore. Citizens United has made the United States an oligarchy. We are now owned by a handful of very, very, very rich people. What they want happens. What the rest of us want or need is irrelevant to them. I think democracy ended a long time ago. We are an oligarchy." And that was the former president's answer. And again, this is many years ago. You can look it up. You can find it. Google it first or use DuckDuckGo, and then it'll take you to the best place, either the transcript or the video clip. And that's what I'm trying to say, I think, is the big takeaway from this now, is that the majority of the country said, we're good with that. We're good with oligarchy. We're good with fascism. We're good with the destruction, the dismantling, the end of what the framers had in mind. We're done. Sounds good to us. A strong man to tell us what to do and what to think sounds good to me. A majority of our fellow Americans made that decision to end what we've always wanted in this country, what we supposedly wanted, to end it. And we can talk about tariffs, and we can talk about tax cuts for billionaires, and we can talk about education and environment. None of that matters anymore. None of it. Because the majority of the country said democracy's okay, doesn't work for us anymore. We'll go without. And again, I'll dig into the numbers a little bit past the top of the hour. I really need to reset the program, but that's it. That's it. Let me just get to this comment really quick, and then I really need to reset the program, because I think, Clay, Here's where I said, Clay, I hope you're listening. I'm speaking directly to you at this point. That I told you I might put you off here a little bit, but I'm beyond thrilled that you continue to be here. And this, by the way, this is not just my disappointment or depression or sore loserness, whatever you want to say, following the results. Am I disappointed? Of course. Do I think the American people got it wrong? Profoundly. But this is actually a very cold, kind of dispassionate way of looking at it. And again, it doesn't make me right. And it certainly doesn't mean that you need to agree with me. I hope you, even if you, in fact, I've already invited you to be a permanent listener of the program. I hope you'll listen, especially when you don't agree with me. And God bless the fact that we can still disagree, at least until January 20th. The American spirit lives in many individuals though, and our institutions are part of us. Not when they're all gone, Clay. There are many Americans who would consider Department of Education to be an institution. Project 2025 calls for it to be shut down. Department of Labor, I'm going to shut that down too. The EPA, we'll shut that down too. Food and Drug Administration, certainly they'll keep the Food and Drug Administration, especially with all the articles this summer of chicken killing people and milk being tainted. No, they want to shut down the FDA. Well, certainly if they're going to kill Social Security or privatize it, then the financial regulatory agencies would survive. No, they all get shut down. Project 2025 calls for the federal government to be reduced to a point where the only functioning departments and agencies are the Department of Justice, which now becomes a direct report to the president, and the Department of Defense. That's pretty much it. Many of them feel the same, and in the face of an actual dictator, they would turn against it. I hope you're right, except that a majority of our country voted for that. And again, this is not me trying to pour water on you. I am thrilled to death that you are ready to rise up and hit the streets. I'm thrilled by it, but I think we are missing something as a nation if we don't look at what the hell just happened. And again, for Clay, for everybody, doesn't mean you have to agree with me. This is how I'm looking at it. Sure, I'm disappointed. Sure, I'm even maybe a little, I don't know that I'm outright frightened, but damn apprehensive about what's coming. But I also think I'm dispassionate enough to say, no, this is what happened. We need to call it out when the lies catch up to him. When, Clay? When are the lies ever catching up to him? Ever. Special Prosecutor Jack Smith, following Tuesday, I think it was Thursday, said that's the end of our investigations. We're wrapping up. We'll write our final report. Because he knows he's going to get fired. All of the investigations are going to go away. Fani Willis did win another term as district attorney in Fulton County, Georgia. But her investigation has been ground to a halt. And then let's not forget the Supreme Court's decision that official acts of the presidency are immune from prosecution. Period. They're actually immune from congressional action. They will turn on him when he fails. When has that happened? They're going to get tax cuts. The original 2017 Trump tax cut is going to get extended, and he wants a second round of tax cuts worth about $6 trillion. Trump added more to the national debt than any other president before him. And by a long, especially in a 4-year period, he set a record for a 4-year period. We didn't even add that kind of debt in war. World War II, we didn't have that kind of debt. Even in inflation-adjusted dollars. I don't know you, Clay. You wouldn't know. Well, you might recognize me. My face is on the screen. I wouldn't know you if I bumped into you, mate. I wouldn't. I am fired up. I am thrilled. I am heartened. I am strengthened by your strength. And I am not here to pour water on your strength. But we have to look at this with realism. I'm not saying you're not, so that may have come out wrong. I don't think you're in some utopian fantasy land. I don't. But I think we do have to step back and concede and recognize the fact that the majority of the people of this country voted for billionaires. They voted for autocracy. They voted for oligarchy. They voted for fascism. They voted for a man that said you'll never have to vote again after this. After November 2024, you'll never have to vote again. A man who outright said the Constitution should be suspended. But then again, Project 2025 takes a razor blade to the Constitution. And I would ask you to look for these tweets from Steve Bannon, Mike Walsh, and Stephen Miller, who after Election Day, after Trump was declared the winner, after he had declared himself the winner, after Vice President Harris conceded, these tweets that said, oh yeah, we denied Project 2025 all that time. No, that's the plan. We denied it had anything to do with Trump. He's going to get started on Project 2025 on day one. You're going to see a snowstorm of executive orders in the first month. Project 2025 is the plan, period. They finally admitted it after denying it and lying about it. So when are the lies going to catch up to them? I must have missed it. Behind me, you see the blue and yellow of the Ukrainian flag. I'd save a picture of it somewhere because it's not going to exist for much longer. Neither is Ukraine. The Americans living in this country of Palestinian descent who refused to support Vice President Harris because they didn't think she was tough enough on Israel. Say goodbye to your relatives. You think she wasn't tough enough on Israel? You think she didn't protect the Palestinians enough? Trump doesn't care if Netanyahu nukes Gaza. He doesn't care if he sends death squads through Gaza, which he kind of already has. The Palestinians have absolutely no hope, no future, period, in the next 4 years. Netanyahu will now have license to wipe them out. And a majority of our fellow Americans voted for that. It is indisputable. It is undeniable. They voted for it. Excitedly, most of them. They voted for it. A majority of this country voted to end this country. It's 7-Eleven, which is usually lucky, probably not for most of you. Because I'm on a roll. I'm on a bad roll. I'm on a stale, hard roll. That's what I am. Moldy, even. Thank you all for being here. And special thanks to some of the new names that I have seen in the chat. play, of course, I should say welcome to John McCann. I hope I'm saying that correctly, sir. To John Quia and Mike and Randall and Donna, who are just simply the most loyal of people. My cousin Dawn she was in here at the beginning of the program. I don't know if she still is. And a happy birthday to her, by the way. 29 years old, my cousin. Pretty sure. So, thank you all for being here. I'm beyond honored that you are here. So thank you, thank you, thank you. You can watch us live right now on the Facebook pages of Ghost Claw Productions, Our Revolution Pennsylvania, the TCP Media Group, Hot101.net's Facebook page, my own personal Facebook page. My name's right there in the bottom left-hand corner. And, of course, our home group Facebook page for all things Surround the Kennedy Effect and 101 and GCPR, that other side of information. We hope that you will please become part of our Facebook group. The membership on our group has gotten a bit stale in that we haven't seemed to have grown in the group, but like we kind of hit a ceiling. I'm not quite sure what's going on with that. But if you are within the sound of my voice, either live or recorded, please consider coming to our Facebook group. I should put the name in the chat, actually. God knows you all love it when I type. When I'm trying to talk because my brain doesn't let me do two things. You know the old joke, I can walk and chew gum at the same time. Clearly, I can't talk and type at the same time. I don't know who can. Is the name of both our Facebook, no, I can't spell, Facebook group and YouTube channel. And we are live, of course, on. Oh, and we shared, how many places did I share the program? I forgot. I didn't look. I didn't look. Oh, it's more than that. It's not 3. It's more than that. Places did I share? 104. 104 places, and didn't get stopped. Didn't get stopped. Maybe even Zuckerberg is just laughing at me at this point. Maybe he's just laughing at me at this point. He's no threat. He doesn't even bother to stop me at this point. Well, yeah, he's nobody. Yeah, he's probably not wrong. But anyway, yeah, 105 places. So anywhere that you might be on the Facebook universe, the 105 places that have been kind enough to allow us to share to their corner of the Facebook universe, to all groups, both large and small, local, regional, national, international, politics-based, internet radio-based, wherever you might be. Thank you for allowing us to be part of your corner of the Facebook universe. And of course, our continued and daily thanks to the TCP Media Group, Hot 101 Facebook, Ghost Claw Productions, and of course our home group Facebook page, That Other Side of Information. That's all the places you can find us on Facebook. We are also live on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/That Other Side of Information. Again, I just put it in the chat, and apparently I misspelled it. Chat, I got a little dyslexic and backwarded a word. Our YouTube channel is really a great place to go back and watch older shows. And if you are watching us or listening to us and you have to stop, walk away, you think you missed anything, YouTube is the best place to go. It is right there right now live, but as soon as we are done, it stays there recorded. And you can always catch up with our program there. youtube.com, easy for me to say, /That Other Side of Information. We are live on Twitch right now, Jeff R. Kennedy. We are live on my LinkedIn, Jeff Kennedy, as well. Blasting around the globe the audio of the program on 2 global internet giants. One of the originals, hot101.net. Our name is our web address. You can listen on any type of device that can connect to the internet below, above, or on planet Earth. Hot101.net, Apple App Store, Google Play Store, and the TuneIn radio app. And of course, you can tell Alexa to play Hot101.net. GCPR Live, Ghost Call Productions Radio.live. GCPR.live. Put it into any search engine, you will find us and listen. Period. End of story. It's that simple. You don't need to create logins or pay for either of these two radio giants. You can listen to us absolutely 100% for free, and we hope that you will. And we hope that you will continue to spread the word about our program and about both stations. And again, can't listen to both stations at exactly the same time, but you can listen to both stations. There is a lot of hours in a week. And if you want to take a break from politics, then go listen to the music at 101. If you want to hear about, you want talk radio, then come on back. GCPR, we are always here for you. The Villain's View follow. I was combining words. I was combining villains and follow. Not exactly sure how that was going to all come out, but it almost did come out, and it sounded terrible. Following us, following us whenever we sign off, which I have a feeling is going to be about 8 o'clock. The Villain's View is live on GCPR.live and all of the video outlets for GCPR. The music resumes here on Hot 101 immediately following us. Conversations with T. Nathan on GCPR.live from 11 p.m. And Thomas kicks off your broadcast work week from 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. We return to you. Let me get into a little bit quickly of the new schedule for the program. That is this. I've actually had multiple doctors during this 3-week long health, 2.5 week, it'll be 3 weeks on Thursday. Health, I was going to say journey. Journeys are usually pleasurable. This is not being. I'd sojourn, whatever, I don't know. Whatever you want to call it. We're trying to think of a not quite pleasant word for journey. But whatever, this latest healthcare journey. We've had several doctors tell me your schedule is simply too much. You simply can't keep it up. Clearly, at your age and at your health level, you can't continue this schedule. I remember Mike was kind enough when he called in one of the days to tell me that he thought my schedule was nuts. And agreed, and I appreciate that. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to try to balance out the week. I will still be with you on Sundays as long as you will have me. Right here on all of our video platforms, as well as 101 and GCPR. I'm going to take tomorrow off. Tomorrow night. I have to work. My regular 40-hour job, or 50-hour job. Tomorrow. No show tomorrow night. We'll come back on Tuesday on GCPR.live. Then we'll take Wednesday off. Then we'll see you on Thursday. And then we'll take Friday and Saturday off and see you again on Sunday. On, off, on, off, on, off. Essentially. Hope that we don't lose any of you. Hope that we continue to gain and grow. But physically, I simply can't do the 20-hour days. It's just more than I can do. Because I've told you that when I do the radio on weeknights, I'm up at 5:30 in the morning, usually not in bed till 10:30 at night. And I go straight through. Between my 50-hour-a-week job, little dinner, take care of the dog, try to maintain my own home, and then be here with you. I do radio because I love it. I hope you think I'm good at it. And I hope that's why you've given us the opportunity, that you've listened, you continue to tune in. What am I doing? So that said, I need to cut down the 20-hour days. I can't keep it up. So Actually, 20 is too many. 5:30 to 5:30 is 12. 17, 18-hour days. I should be more accurate. I can't keep up the 17-hour days. So I will do Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. That will certainly be the plan into the new year and for the foreseeable future, because who knows how many more elections we'll ever have. So I don't know how long we'll be able to talk about them. And who knows, maybe by February next year, I'll be in a camp anyway. I don't know. I mean, maybe I will be. I don't know. I hope you'll call us, Clay. I'm going to turn the phone line on, actually. And I'm going to try and get into the AP a little bit to see. Honestly, I've been very, very unplugged. Oh, come on. Load. Paige, we need you. There we go. Let me remind you all, it would be nice for Clay or for Mr. McCann or somebody else to call in. We always love new callers. We deeply, deeply encourage your call-ins. I don't do any call screening because I don't have the opportunity. We would prefer, of course, that you not swear on the air, things like that. But the point is, please, feel free to be part of our program. We would be thrilled if you would do exactly that. Phone line is right over my. I always get this wrong. It's the mirroring. I get it wrong. It's that way. Our phone line is right over my shoulder. 267-227-9189. 267-227-9189. 267-227-9189. Let me dig in a little deeper into some of the numbers. And again, I think some of these numbers only really reinforce my overall takeaway. And that is that this is what the American people want. They want oligarchy. They want a dictator. They want their freedoms curtailed. They want government dismantled. They want to burn it all down. They want immigrants deported. They want education decimated. In fact, they want education and healthcare returned to a state in this country where you only get it if you can pay for it. And if you don't have money, then you're screwed. They don't want unions. They don't want infrastructure. They don't want the CHIPS, the Science and Chips Act that's returning record levels of industrial jobs to this country. They don't want any of it. They don't want student debt relief. I refuse to call it forgiveness because we can't encourage all these kids to go to college and then make them beg for forgiveness for it. They have nothing to be ashamed of. They have nothing to ask for forgiveness for. But a majority of the country doesn't want student debt relief. They don't want us to help Ukraine. Here's a couple numbers. Again, I'm working from memory. I have unplugged a lot since Tuesday. But here's some of the big numbers that I did hear and learn and study a tiny bit. First off, voter turnout across the country was high on both sides. Obviously, he got more votes. Okay, we're not breaking any ground there, right? I'm not telling you anything that you didn't know. The voter turnout was very high. And that's a good sign for our country. Even though I have just made the case to you, the American people are happy if they don't vote again. At least 55% of us are thrilled if this is the last time that we vote. They've made that decision. They turned out, I don't want to say record numbers because it wasn't we didn't turn out as a whole, as a nation, in record numbers, but it is one of the higher turnout elections in recent memory, more so than 2020. Here's three big, well, I have more than three. Yeah. Here's one of the big ones. Trump held and actually slightly increased his percentage of white women that voted for him. This is nationwide. This is not in any one particular state or commonwealth or territory for that matter. He took about 56% of white women. That's all white women, all ages, all economic backgrounds, all education levels. That's steady to past performance, even a bit of an increase. For all the time and money that was spent by Vice President Harris's campaign, by Democrats everywhere, by Planned Parenthood, by the ACLU, talking about women's bodily autonomy. "56% of white women said, no thanks. We'll take a national abortion ban, thank you very much." Because that's what's coming. It's in Project 2025. Menstruation period tracking is coming too, where you will literally have to report your menstrual periods to your state government. That's part of Project 2025. It's coming. And 56% of white women voted for it. A majority. A clear majority. They voted for it. So that's one of the big takeaways for me. What I should say, one of the substantiating takeaways to my main theme, that this is what the country wants. They want to dismantle the country. Here's another one. Trump increased his performance with Latinos as a whole and Black men nationwide by about 20 percentage points. That's massive. Political group that Kristen works with has immigrant rights groups as part of the coalition of groups that her group is a part of. I just used the word groups about 8 million times there. And on, I think it wasn't the following morning, it was either Thursday morning or Friday morning. This particular immigrant rights group, I won't name them because quite frankly, they don't deserve the airtime. The stupidity alone. Sent out an email to its membership and partners to say, okay, we got the guy we wanted in the White House. Now we have to lobby him not to deport all of us. What the frack did you think you were voting for? You can't be fracking serious. Yeah, I'm going to use the word. How monumentally stupid were all of you? What the frack do you think is going to happen? In an interview Thursday with ABC News, Trump was asked, are you really going to deport people? And he said, yeah, I have to now. It was part of what I've campaigned on, and people voted for it. So I have to now. I'm not even sure he wants to be honest. I think he just wanted the campaign sledgehammer to beat Democrats over the head with. Corporations do not want their cheap non-union labor shipped out of the country. The farmers that were decimated by Trump's trade war with China, a trade war he lost, that had millions of pounds of crops rot in the fields because no one would pick them. Because the immigrants couldn't pick them because they were all getting blocked at the border and sent out. And God knows white people won't do those jobs. Got to be honest with you, black folk won't do those jobs. Seasonal migrant workers do those jobs. They come in for picking season, they go back. Those farmers voted for this. They voted for it. Are they going to be happy when their crops rot in the field again? It's what you voted for. And Trump said, yeah, I kind of have to. I have to do it now. Here's another big number. Between 15 and 16 million total, less total people voted in this election. Now, I know I just said to you the turnout was high, and it was for recent memory. Look, we've had presidential cycles in this country in the 90s and in the 21st century here where only 55, 58, 60% of eligible voters were taking part. Elections in odd numbered years, maybe 20% of the electorate comes out. You have mayors. The mayor of the third largest city in Allentown, 130,000 people live there, roughly. Actually, it might even be 150. It might have gone up. It's 150 now. He was elected with 3,000 votes. People don't come out in odd years. Midterms are lower. Presidential cycles are usually highest. Turnout was strong last Tuesday. It was strong. It was not record-setting, but it was strong. But even with that taken into account, the total vote count shows us that 15, 16 million people that voted in 2020 did not vote in 2024. And there's probably a myriad of reasons for that. Could have been work changes, life changes, people pass away. Their registrations lapse. They feel disconnected from the system. They were illegally purged from the voter rolls. Texas, Florida, Iowa, Kansas, Virginia, South Carolina, Georgia. I think it's Georgia. All of that could be factors. But there's an inherent sort of, almost like a tacit approval of something when you walk away from it. You see two men fighting on a street corner and you just walk away. There's a tacit approval of what's happening. You see a homeless man under an overpass and he comes to your car and says, do you have $1? And you say no. And by the way, anytime that's ever happened to me, I've never been yelled at, I've never been assaulted, I've never been had my car kicked or keyed or anything like that. They usually just say, I understand, and they walk away. There's a tacit approval to that. When a black church is burned and no one does anything about it, no one's brought to justice, witnesses don't talk, there's an approval to that. There's a tacit approval to that. This 15 million people or so that didn't vote, and I'm sure some of it is legitimate. Like I said, they were sick, couldn't drag the kids to the polling place, super long lines, their registrations lapsed, they passed away. Kind of no coming back from that. So some of it, yeah. But a good number of those people just said, I don't want any part of this. I'm out. Well, now you have no room to complain. My dad always said, you don't get to complain if you don't vote. I don't think he was entirely right, but I understand his point. I told you I talk about it all the time. It's a shame. I wish he was proud of me. I know he would not be proud of what I'm doing. He hated that I did radio. He hated that I was a Democrat. He hated that I got involved in politics. He hated that I ran for office. I'd like to think that he's proud of me and proud of what I do here, but I tend to think not. Guess I'll hear about that on the other side. But anyway, I think that was the three biggies that I wanted to. I think that was the three big ones that I was going to say, isn't it? Yeah, I think so. But I'll throw another one at you. I saw a screenshot of an article today that Democrats, especially people in the Biden administration, are looking at the Harris campaign, saying, how do you spend $1.5 billion and lose? And they argued that the money was spent on the wrong things, in the wrong areas, and just, that this campaign that we all thought was flawlessly run really wasn't flawless. I don't know that I buy a lot of that. I don't know that I agree with a lot of it. I happen to think the vice president ran massively successful, energetic, positive, issue-oriented, policy-laden campaign. Here's one way $1.5 billion is not enough. Oh, by the way, she put money into Colin Allred's campaign in Texas to unseat Ted Cruz for the U.S. Senate. He lost, just exactly as I told you he would. Texas is not a functioning democracy. The oligarchy, the fascist, totalitarian dictatorship that Texas and Florida already are, is now coming to the rest of the country. But here's another big number. See, Democrats do numbers. Republicans do feelings. In billionaire dark money alone, not the $5, $10, $25, $50, $100 donations from supporters. Billionaire dark money, untraceable as far as who was actually giving it. But you know that it's spent. You can calculate what's spent. You can't calculate where it came from. Trump received between $6 and $7 billion. Billion with a B. In just billionaire dark money. Billion. $6 to $7 billion. Oh, look, $1.5 billion. $1.5 billion is a lot of money. 1.5 billion of anything is a lot. Gallons of water, rocks, pillows. flies, blades of grass. Like what? $1.5 billion of anything is a lot. She had plenty of money. At the end of it, and goodness knows, the number of there were independent expenditure groups on the Democratic side too. So the $1.5 billion direct to her campaign is that $1.5 billion. There was much more money, spent by other groups as well on her behalf. When it comes down to just billionaire dark money, that doesn't include the outside expenditure groups and the individual donations on the Republican side. And the direct billionaire money that we knew about, like Musk, $56 million a month, and his $1 million random, wink, 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 giveaways in Pennsylvania. Buying people's vote illegally, by the way. 6 to 7 billion is hard to combat. That's a Citizens United. I have a Russian troll watching the show on Twitch. They're reveling, by the way. Why do you think Putin's so happy about this result? Why do you think Musk poured all that money in? The amount of money that he spent on this election cycle is nothing. It is pennies on a $10 bill compared to what he's going to get back in regulatory cuts and tax cuts. He will now be able to poison any place he wants, violate all environmental laws and regulations, and he's going to get a tax cut worth trillions to him and his businesses. Well, to him himself and his businesses, hundreds of billions of dollars. Pennies on a $10 bill. Pennies on a $100 bill, by the way. 56 million a month sounds like an awful lot to the rest of us. We won't even earn 56 million in our lifetimes. Him dumping that in per month, it's nothing compared to the hundreds of billions he's going to gain in tax cuts. And yet, the majority of the country voted for it. There's no other way to slice it. It just isn't. And I've heard a lot of criticisms of the Harris campaign, and I think a lot of them are absolute bullshit. She didn't listen to people. You shitting me? She didn't listen? You kidding? She was the only one talking to voters. Trump would take the stage and do these 2-hour-long rambles of unconsciousness. She talked to people. My friend from overseas, what were her policies? Are you kidding? Do you know how, and I'll give him a pass because he is from overseas. They don't get the depth of American coverage that we get here. The same way we don't get the depth of coverage from the UK that they get in their home country. It's just natural. She was the only one talking about policy. And you could say Trump was talking about policy. We're going to cut taxes. We're going to save Social Security. How are you going to do any of these things? Well, we'll get there. I have an idea of a plan. We're going to deport people. How? Nah, we'll work on that. She had a plan. She had a plan that Wall Street and the big banks and the Congressional Budget Office, Americans for Tax Fairness, all said was going to grow the economy, was going to increase wages for the middle class, was going to grow the middle class. But billionaires didn't want to pay any more money. They want tax cuts. They don't give a shit if the country falls apart. They don't give a shit if you're uneducated. It just makes you a cheaper worker. Project 2025, by the way, calls for abolishing the federal minimum wage. Calls for abolishing all child labor laws. Congratulations, West Virginia. Now your 8 and 10 and 12-year-old sons can go back into the mines. I hope you're proud. And that's the last thing I'm going to leave you with, because I am going to sign off at 8. I told you, and by the way, I told you the phone line's open. If you want to keep the conversation going, feel free. 267-227-9189. If Clay or John Quee or anyone new wants to call, I'd be excited. If not, perfectly understandable. It's not always comfortable talking live on the radio. I get it. It's just a conversation, but the phone line is open. Nobody calls. I'm signing off at 8 because my body is beginning to ache and I'm running out of oxygen. And I'm getting lightheaded again. It's got to be my sugar. It has to be my sugar. I'm either hypoglycemic or I have diabetes. It's one or the other. Ironically, hypoglycemia is low blood sugar. Diabetes is an inability to control your blood sugar. The symptoms for both. Why is it still ringing? I answered it. Wait, where did it go? Hold on, I got it. Hold on. Shut up, you thing. I answered you. Stop ringing in my ear. Because I answered you. Go ahead, Mike.
It's not Mike, it's Randall.
Oh. Whoa! What is going on behind you? Wait a minute. Something. Hold on. Everybody, hold on.
I'm outside.
Please hold on. Everybody, hang on. Take a breath. Give me a minute. Something very, very funky has happened here. I do.
Okay.
I got 2 calls at the same time, and neither of you can hear the other. So this is not going to work.
Well, I can hear you, Jeff.
I know. Everybody can hear me, but you can't hear each other, and you're both talking at the same time. I'm getting overwhelmed here. Hang on. I have no idea, technically, by the way, how this happened. Because this is not supposed to. The software is only supposed to allow me to take 1 call at a time. How you both got through, how you got, no, I just want to, I'm not yelling at anybody. I don't know how that happened. That is really strange. Really strange. Randall, the reason I did not know it was you is because Mike's phone number came up. Well, I know the area code. I don't know his phone number. I don't have it memorized. But I recognize the area code. Came up on my phone. That I answered. The software kept ringing in my ear. But somehow it was both of you at the same time. That was very strange. That's a weird one. That's a whole new one. It also shows that this computer is crap, kids. This computer is long since. I'm just telling you. Please go check out the GoFundMe. I'm begging you all. I have not literally begged you all to do such a thing. Please go check out the GoFundMe. Anyway, Randall, go ahead quickly, sir.
I got a Social Security.
Huh?
And Medicare is costing more and more the more it becomes privatized with Medicare Advantages.
Currently about 50% of the Medicare program is now privatized. This is actually a program that the Biden administration should have stopped, but did not. That people are being directed onto Medicare Advantage without their knowledge by their doctors. So 50% of the program is now private. In the next 4 years, I would be stunned if it wasn't, if 3/4 of the program wasn't privatized by then. And then, by the way, I know one Trump campaign promise, I guess, if you call it that, to eliminate the Social Security taxes for everybody. That will bankrupt. That will bankrupt. Right, it will bankrupt the system within 7 years. Why would he do that? Why would he do that if he said he's going to save Social Security? Because that's the effing plan, folks, is to bankrupt the system. Republicans have hated Social Security since it was originally passed under President Roosevelt. They've hated it. They've tried to hollow it and destroy it and bankrupt it ever since. They have borrowed from it. They have stolen from it. It is trillions of dollars in the Social Security Trust Fund. But if no revenue comes in and only money goes out, that's very, very simple economics. You don't need to be a professor of economics. You don't need to be Robert Reich to figure that one out. The system will eventually go broke. And that's the plan, is to bankrupt it. And then once they bankrupt it, that'll be the end of it. And you might think to yourself, well, Trump's only in office for 4 more years at the most, according to the Constitution. But then again, he said he wanted to suspend the Constitution. But even that said, even if Trump doesn't serve this full 4 years, J.D. Vance is 38 years old, folks. His entire life has been given to him by Peter Thiel, a billionaire. We'll have President Vance for life. And they will destroy Social Security. Period. That's the plan. Go ahead, Randall. Sorry. You mentioned that and it got me going. Sorry.
No, I will be on the street. End of story. I don't think I can do a part-time job physically anymore. Friday night, my oxygen level got down to 88% for my chronic COPD. And I know it's supposed to go. Everybody says immediately, if it goes below 90, go to the hospital. And I almost called an ambulance. And I went over the recommended doses of my rescue inhalers. But at least got me up to 90 and 91% of oxygen. So, and that was just moving around, not that much exercise. That put me into that. I know I can't even go back at 72 working part-time. And if I'm on the street, I'm fucking dead. You know?
Look, I'm 55 and a half. Let's assume, for the sake of argument, Trump and the Republicans eliminate the Social Security, the payroll tax for Social Security. There's no money coming into the system. We'll take the worst case scenario. They'll bankrupt it in 7 years. 55 and 7 is 62. Retirement age is 67. I won't even make it to the retirement age. I will work. I've told you on this program for the entire existence of the program that I expect to never receive Social Security, and I expect to work until I'm dead.
Well, and my wife.
Now that plan is coming to fruition. And now that plan is coming to fruition, and Randall, because I think you agree with me, and you don't have to, nobody ever has to, a majority of the country voted for it. Millions of seniors across this country, people that you know and that I know, who are retired, who are on Social Security, millions of them voted to destroy their own Social Security and end their own retirements.
Yes, but statistically, 65 and older, and the majority voted Democrat across this nation on Tuesday. Because the majority of 65 and older are realizing, most of them finally realizing, unless they're complicated like myself, they're finally realizing what this BS means. And in any case, my wife's 63. And after she just said Wednesday, she says, I got to work until the day I die. She can physically work. I can't. Anyway.
I got you.
I got a son on here right now that teaches high school, the Title I school system. Predominantly 90% people of color. Here, outside Philadelphia. And he knows what's going to happen. And their one son is special needs.
Right.
One of my grandsons. That's all going to be cut off.
Right.
With probably the Department of Education.
Quite possibly, yes.
Now if you dig into Project 25, it's buried down there.
In a very, you will know as a student of history, in a very fascist way, the extreme right wing, the billionaire class, the oligarchs, the would-be dictator, well, he will be now, the dictators, this extreme right-wing libertarianism, they look at folks with disabilities as expendable. They're expendable. They do not, they're not consumers, and they don't work. They're strictly takers. The billionaires have no room for them, period. There's no room for folks like that. They're expendable. They're a burden.
The first class of people that Hitler and the Nazi regime went after was anyone with special needs, mental or physical, anyone with debilitating diseases like polio, you're in a wheelchair, or you're paralyzed. That was the first group of people that were exterminated. And they were the first group, they used experimental mass extinction by hooking a truck's exhaust up to asphyxiate everyone with carbon monoxide, CO.
Well, look. Let me say this quick before this drags any. I do not expect in any way, shape, or form mass killings, mass slaughter in this country. I do not.
I don't either.
My point is that folks with different disabilities, whatever they might be they mental or physical, are regarded by the most extreme right wing in this country and the billionaire class as expendable people because they are not consumers. They don't buy things because they generally don't have money to pay for things, and they don't produce wealth. They do not spend their wealth. They do not have wealth, and they do not create wealth because, generally speaking, they can't work. I don't expect to see, a Nazi-style repeat of that. I don't think Randall does either. We're not saying I'm not predicting that coming in the future. But the idea, the thought process that these people are expendable because they do nothing with wealth is a fact. And that's why you cut Project 2025 talks about cutting all the support for them. Cut the CHIPS Act, cut the STEM learning, cut all these things, cut special education funding, cut the social services that people in that condition need because they're expendable. So the quicker we can get rid of them, the better. It just is. It just is what it is. I'm not saying it's right. I don't think Randall and I are expecting, like I said, these mass gassings. It's not about that. It's the idea. It's the conception in their head that these people are not, they're not on the same level as the rest of us. They're not as human as the rest of us. They don't deserve what the rest of us deserve because they don't spend and create wealth. They don't work and create wealth. What else you got before I let you go?
I'm just going to let you go, and I'll listen and watch on Tuesday night and watch your health.
Yeah, please don't.
And
please don't forget the new schedule. I'll go over it again.
Tuesday night.
Sign off, but we'll be every other day now. So we'll go over
Yep.
that. We'll go over that.
All right, Jeff.
All right.
Night.
Hey, you take care of yourself. You said you're using a lot of. You relax. All right. Please take care of yourselves. I heard the grandkids there in the background. You give them a hug. Give them a tighter hug in these next few weeks. They're going to need it.
Yep.
All right.
Love you, bro.
You take care of yourself.
All right.
Mike was the gentleman. Mike Jackson was the gentleman. I should take his last name around like that before something shows up in your front lawn. It's probably true. Was kind enough to hang up so Randall can talk. So, Mike, if you want back in, feel free. I'll hang here for a couple minutes. If you ring, great. If not, I'm out. Anybody else that wants to ring in, especially somebody who's never called before, I'm thrilled to talk to you. I hope that you will. And I want to read. I've read this on the program a bunch of times before, like a bunch. I want to read it again. I just did this. That's why I love having more than one computer. It's why I need new computers. Oral, folks. This is from the Holocaust Encyclopedia. It is a service, an online service of the United States Holocaust Museum and Memorial, and it is the poem by Martin Niemöller. Martin Niemöller was a prominent Lutheran pastor in Germany. In the 1920s and early 1930s, he sympathized with many Nazi ideas and supported radically right-wing political movements. But after Hitler came to power in 1933, Niemöller became an outspoken critic of Hitler's interference in the Protestant Church. He spent the last 8 years of Nazi rule from 1937 to 1945 in Nazi prisons and concentration camps. Niemöller is perhaps best remembered for his post-war statement, which begins, "First they came for." So let me key facts about. I'm reading this from the website. I have to give every credit to this. Is from the United States Holocaust Museum and Memorial website. Their Holocaust Encyclopedia, which is a service of that museum. The quote that begins with the words "First they came for" continues to be used in popular culture and public discourse. It has often been adapted to reflect current social issues and debates across the world. There are different versions of the quotation because it originated from Martin Niemöller's impromptu public speeches. The quotation expresses Niemöller's belief that the Germans had been complicit through their silence in the Nazi imprisonment, persecution, and murder of millions of people. He felt this was especially true of the leaders of the Protestant churches, which were made up of Lutheran, Reformed, and United traditions. The quote is as follows. First, now let us remember, again, this is from the early 1930s. The some of the terminology might not sound familiar to you. It's not terminology we would use in 2020, but it makes it no less important and no less apropos, shall we say. First, they came for the socialists. They did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade union. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me. There was no one left to speak for me. That, I think, is actually a shortened version. I keep trying to use a mouse for this computer on this computer. That doesn't work like that. I actually think that might be a shortened version of that. I believe there are longer ones, if I'm not mistaken. And remember what we just read in the encyclopedia. There are many versions of the quote because he said it in a speech, and it might not have been, written down. Here's a version of it where they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I wasn't a communist. So there are longer versions of this quote, but I think you get the idea. We're there. We are, in a manner of speaking, we're there. First, Trump came for the immigrants, and I did not speak out because I was not an immigrant. Then he came for the women, and I wasn't a woman. These are, this is not, now it's working. Gosh, that was strange. Okay. See, oh, go ahead, Mike.
I was waiting for the topic point, and that is a
You know better.
Huh?
You know better than to wait for a stopping point. I stop now when I'm out of breath, when I can't breathe. I can't take in enough oxygen. That's basically when I stop now at this point, which is getting to be more and more often. So, go ahead, real quick, because I'm not going to stay too much longer. Go ahead, please. But airwaves are yours here for a minute.
Yeah, less than 5 minutes. And I did see you sit there during the opening theme song and cast your weary eyes to God and do deep breathing breaths. So I know this is difficult for you to be here tonight. But I do have great news. News. And this may be of interest to the other listeners, especially new-time people. Call into Jeff. He will talk to anyone as evidence that he seems to like my calls. But
Don't put yourself down like that. Here's the truth, though. Here's the absolute truth. Mike should not put himself down like that. I will, but he's right. Will talk to anyone because I do not have any kind of fancy call screening software here. All I get on my screen is a phone number. It doesn't have a name attached to it. It doesn't have an area. It has nothing. I happen to know when it's Mike because I've memorized his area code. I actually don't know the rest of his phone number. And I generally know when it's Randall, although I got them both wrong tonight because I know the area code. I don't have any call screening. I don't have any fancy call screening software. I do not have 30 phone calls lined up in a queue like Tom Hartman, where I have a name, number, a location, what they want to talk about, because George is sitting here, which he's not sitting here, by the way, but I mean, it's not like he's sitting here and feeding me all this information. The chances of me taking a phone call and have somebody just threaten to kill me and F-bomb me all over the place is actually pretty high because I can't stop it. I don't know. I know that it was Mike. I knew that it was Randall. They're generally the only two people that call, which, as grateful as I am, I wish I could end the program saying one of my great radio goals is to finally end the program by saying to all the callers we did not have time to get to, we hope to talk to you tomorrow. Like, that's my goal, is one of these days to be able to say, I'm sorry to all the callers we didn't get to. Please try again next time. But Mike's right. The number's out there. You can call. Mike is right.
When you see my area code, finish your thought and then take the call. I will wait.
No. Well, you do. You do. So does Randall.
And the other,
you guys usually do. You usually do.
And the other thing is, I'm here strictly because of George. George and I had a friend in California in common, and he told me, I have a friend here in Pennsylvania, and I was like, Pennsylvania, is that next to Transylvania? I don't know, but I'm going to put it on, and it'll count as one more listener for your stats. And I put it on, and you were actually engaging, and so here I am. I have it, and I said I'd keep this 5 minutes.
Well, you're good. I stole some of your 5 minutes, but I think you're right. Like, we could use. Let's try to end on some good news. You have some good news that you wanted to share. Please.
I have some good news. I've been out of work for over a year, and I just really found out that I'm kind of blackballed here in Magaland because it's apparently well known that I am one of those godless Democrats who, probably belongs to the Church of Satan and that kind of stuff. But I did find a job, and this may be of interest to a lot of people that just want to get out of America. I have taken an offer to move to Australia for a job there.
Are you serious? Really? Honestly?
This is fantastic, and they are still looking for people. So if you're trying to get out of America, now this is a little unusual, and I was surprised that they would still take me. Because although there was a competing offer from a local monastery there that paid more, the local nunnery there, which operates a ranch, a sheep ranch, would hire me to come there. They're desperate for people to shear sheep. And they also are a home for wayward girls there, I guess. I don't know what that means. It's kind of cultural. But anyway, that's an opportunity for you. Think of Australia. And it was a plus that I turned out to have a Scottish genetic heritage. I said, I was an adopted kid, but they told my parents I was Scottish, and that turned out to be really great too, because there's apparently a lot of people there in Australia, criminals of Scottish and English and Irish backgrounds. So,
let's remember, Mike.
So I can
historically, Mike is correct. Australia was found as a prison colony for the United Kingdom, for Great Britain.
Right, and
and eventually,
and of course, if you talk to English people, I asked, I have a lot of Doctor Who fans over in England, and I asked them. I said, well, I hear all this. There's, one of the things that the MAGA people here don't appreciate is in Europe, all those white people that American MAGA people are descended from, those immigrants, they all hate each other with a nationalism that is astonishing, right? The English hate everybody, and everybody hates the English. And of course, they have names for each other. They'll call each other a limey or a Mick or whatever. And I said, well, what's the thing for Scotland? And they said, being Scottish was bad enough in of itself that there really isn't any ethnic slur for the Scottish people other than Scotland is where men are real men and the sheep are nervous. Right. And I said, okay, so I'm going to live with that. Fair point.
Can I ask, how long are you allowed to stay? Because Australia actually has some pretty tight immigration laws. You better have a job. You better keep it. And if you should happen to lose it, the clock starts on you before you have to vacate. You got to get the hell out of the country. So what?
Oh, well, I expect the nuclear warheads to be flying by next summer. If you read Neville Shutes on the beach, by being in Australia, I'll probably live 2 or 3 more years before the trade winds drop the fallout that's going to kill everybody up here in the northern hemisphere.
Well, wait,
from World War III before it kills us down there.
Well, I would not hold my breath on that. I'm going down a rabbit hole here, and I do want you to finish. But President Xi of China, of all the jewels he could put in his king's crown, he would like to have Australia. Make no mistake.
I find that, I know he wants Taiwan real bad, but, it's
he wants Taiwan because he thinks Taiwan is part of China, period. He thinks it's just simply a rogue province. But he wants Indonesia. He wants the Philippines. He said that outright. He'll take Japan. He wants the old Japanese, the old World War II Japanese Empire. He looks at South Korea, Japan, New Zealand, Australia, Indonesia, the Philippines as big jewels in the crown. These are all places that the Japanese conquered in their empire, in their days of empire. Xi looks at the Pacific in the same way, that it's his. Right. And they've already by the way.
I find conquering Australia kind of far-fetched because those are really rowdy
I mean, it would be a fight, but if anybody can mount a fight, it's a country with 1.5 billion people. He can raise a standing army of 100 million people if he wanted to, easily.
Right, but the Australian outback has trillions of things. Everything in the landscape of Australia is trying to kill you. The scorpions, the snakes, the spotted jellyfish. Yeah, so I wouldn't advise China to do that. But anyway, I have some specific centers. You want me to post them? I can, if anybody's looking for a job and you don't mind dressing and wearing a habit and shearing sheep at night because there's such a backlog, this might be for you. It gets you out of America.
I wish to God I was healthy enough to do it. I've actually always wanted to visit Australia. I'm not just kidding or feeding into your point. I've actually... There's not a lot of places overseas that I want to go to. I'd like to go to the UK and Ireland. Like to see where my family comes from in Ireland. And I would like to... And Australia's been one of them. I'd like to see Australia. I don't know if I could take the flight. It's a bloody long flight. And I am claustrophobic. I usually don't get claustrophobic on planes because I can see out the window. And, I know eventually within 3, 4, 5 hours I'm going to get where I need to get. But hell, Australia's 18 hours or something like that.
I'm not sure.
It's a long flight, and I don't know if I can do 18 hours on a plane. But regardless, I think it sounds like even if we took the politics out of it, what an exciting adventure! It sounds like an exciting chapter. I mean, I think not that you care what I think, and you shouldn't. But just even if we took the politics out of it, even if Kennedy was president still or whatever, you get my point. I think it's exciting. It sounds really cool. It sounds like a neat adventure, and I hope you'll still listen. The internet's a lovely thing. I lost Mike. I think I lost him. I hope you'll continue to listen from over there. I mean, you still get us on YouTube, and he probably won't live anymore. I think it's a 16-hour difference. I think it's already Monday evening or later in Australia. But I hope he continues to listen. That's exciting. I think that's really cool. Like I said, even if you take the politics out of it, it's a neat adventure. Anyway, let me run through a couple of business items before we say goodnight to you. You are watching and listening to us live on the Facebook pages of Ghost Claw Productions, the TCP Media Group, Our Revolution, Pennsylvania, hot101.net, my own personal Facebook, Jeff Kennedy, and of course our home group Facebook page for all things that surround this program. That other side of information. That other side of information. That's also the name of our YouTube channel. That other side of information. Best place to catch up on the program. Hopefully that's where Mike will catch up on the program. A world away, if you will, literally on the other side of the planet. After he takes on this great adventure. Oh gosh, I lost my train of thought. We've been live on Twitch, Jeff R. Kennedy. We've been live on our LinkedIn, Jeff Kennedy, as well. The audio of the program, of course, blasting around the globe on hot101.net. Our name is our web address. Apple App Store, Google Play Store, and the TuneIn radio app. Tell Alexa to play hot101.net. And of course, GCPR Live, Ghost Clock Productions Radio .live. That's our website. Find all the places that you can watch and listen right there at gcpr.live. To the 105 places that I've been able to share the program to tonight, thank you to every single group, every individual, small groups, large, local, regional, statewide, national, international, political, internet, radio-based, whatever it might be. If you have allowed us to be part of your corner of the Facebook universe, we are infinitely grateful to you. I am going to ask yet again, as we wrap up the program for this Sunday night, really, please, 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 all of you, if you have not done so already, please go to our home group Facebook page, That Other Side of Information. Up at the top is the featured tab. Click on that. Our GoFundMe is there. It is not for a trip. It's not for a wedding present. It's not for a new house or a new car. It's not even for medical bills or groceries. It is entirely 100%. All we're asking you to do is contribute for new electronic equipment for this program. Computers and sound equipment, period. That's it. I'm not looking to get rich. I'm not looking to run away to another country with your money. Nothing like that. New equipment for the program. That's it. If you can contribute, great. If you can't because you can't afford it, I understand. I would never have set up a GoFundMe if I had the money myself to invest in the program, what needs to be invested in the program. So I hope very much that you'll check it out. Please stay tuned to all the places where you can see our program. Please visit our home group Facebook page and become a member. Post there. Get involved in the conversation. Look at the articles that we post on a daily basis. And I'm not the only, predominantly it's me. George posts stuff there too. Occasionally, too, not often enough. Although now that the election cycle is over, I'm hoping Kristen will return to becoming more part of the program and posting in the group and so on. Please, and it's not all political on Facebook. There's animal welfare articles. I'm a huge animal welfare advocate. All of the furry family members, I haven't said furry friends, all of the furry family members that have ever been part of my family have been rescued. And we post a lot of articles about that too. Astronomy, history, archaeology, manufacturing, software, like things like that. We do a lot of different stuff at our Facebook group. We desperately want you to be a part of it. Please check it out. Become a member. It's the best way to keep up with things going on around our program, around Hot 101, and around GCPR as well. I think I covered it. Please remember, see, every time I think I've finished, my brain kicks into gear. Another neuron fires, and then I realize I've not done that. Please remember the new schedule starts now, basically. We will not be here tomorrow. Old schedule. Let me try it this way. let me try it this way. Hopefully it won't get confusing. Obviously, I'm confused because I can't seem to finish a sentence. Maybe this will be easier if I say it this way. Old schedule. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. New schedule. We're going to finish tonight, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. If it's got a T, we're on the air. Tuesday, Thursday. For 2 days, start with a T. Sunday, start the week. We finish the old week. We start a new one. Tuesday, Thursday. Gives me a day off in between. Gives me a night to either go to bed early, or which is what I should do, or eat a full dinner, or eat earlier. Spend a little more time with Daisy. Try to relax a little bit. Try to reintroduce myself to Kristen occasionally. That kind of stuff. So we are not here tomorrow night, Monday. We'll be back on Tuesday night. No Wednesday. See you Thursday night. No Friday, no Saturday. See you next Sunday. So for our Hot 101 audience, we will be on. You can catch our video on the places that you're used to. Tuesday, Thursday. Audio is GCPR live only. Sunday, the full boat. All the video, all the audio. Hot 101 GCPR, all the video platforms. I think that about does it for us for tonight. It's about as much as we can do. A very, very hearty hello and happy birthday to Lynn, George's wife. It's her birthday today. She's 39. A very, very happy birthday to her. And great, great thanks to her as well. She allows George, and I don't mean allows in a bad way. She's George's wife. She has every right in the world to get time from her husband. She allows George to take a lot of time around this program and around everything at GCPR, and she's been very, very supportive of both things. So I say thank you, Lynn. I say hi, and I say happy birthday. And to my cousin Dawn, her birthday as well. A very happy birthday to her as well. She's an interesting cat because she does listen to the program because I see her come in and she rarely, if ever, comments. I don't know where she even is politically. And to be honest with you, it's none of my business. She might sit on the other end listening to me and go, oh my God, I can't agree with this. I can't think he's talking about. I think he's nuts. Or maybe she does agree. And either way, it's none of my business to a point, But she's always here, and it's lovely when your family can support you. So, hi and a happy birthday to my cousin Tom. If you missed any of the program, please go to our YouTube channel, That Other Side of Information, to catch up. And again, please visit our group, our Facebook group. Check out the GoFundMe. Check out the articles, the news articles, news stories, misuse policies, and so on that we post. I hope you'll join our group. I don't know why the membership seems to have hit a glass ceiling, but I hope that you would burst through it and be part of it. And congratulations to Mike. I hope to hear more about it either offline or on the program. It sounds really exciting. It actually really does. I mean, like I said, even if President Kennedy was still president, everything was, the economy was roaring, the New Deal was still in place, and it was the progressive kind of utopia that I know this country should be and could be. And it just sounds like an exciting thing to do, to go take your chances in another country. I think it sounds great, and I wish him nothing but the best, and I hope you'll keep tuning in. So for everybody at hot101.net, that's DJ Lex and DJ Earl and Waterboy and all the DJs at Hot 101. For everyone at GCPR, that's Thomas and Gambit, Gilbert, Pastor Best, Bob Kosh and Solid Blue Sister and Sheila, and Gretchen, and Brett and Ben, and Simon and Chuck, and Cole. And I think I got everybody. For everybody that surrounds the Kennedy effect, that of course is Lynn, happy birthday, and George, that's Kristen, Daisy the dog, of course, April Riddick. I would not be on the air without April. I am Jeff Kennedy. Until Tuesday evening from 8 p.m. Tuesday until Tuesday at 8 p.m. Did you get that part? Until Tuesday at 8 p.m. Please, I beg you, we live in extraordinary times. An epic, seismic, foundational change is happening to our nation Tuesday night. And it's only going to be worse. We need to stick together and support each other. And I hope that you will. Time seems to have slowed down. When we see you on Tuesday, it will only be 1 week since election day. Feels like a decade. But let's talk again on Tuesday night. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other. For our audience at Hot 101, the music resumes. For GCPR.live, the Villain's View comes up. Pre-show might already be on. Live show begins from 9 p.m. T. Nathan from 11. Thomas tomorrow morning from 8. We'll see you Tuesday night. Have a great, great